भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। श्री कृष्ण भगवान की जय।
Krishna Yelara Krishna Yelara Shri 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 Krishna na to chalamu 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 Yelara Krishna Yelara Yelara Badhatala Jalara Krishna Yelara Badhatala Jalara Shri 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 Krishna Yelara Badhatala Jalara Yelara Badhatala Jalara Daya Judara Yelara Badhatala Jalara Daya Judara Yelara Shri Krishna na to chalamu Yelara Krishna Yelara Ragarasika Ragarahita रागरसिक रागरहित रागरसिक रागरहित रागरसिक रागरहित यागयोग भोगफलमु रागरसिक रागरहित यागयोग भोगफलमु नागशयन नागरिपुनी नागशयन नागरिपुनी कृष्ण नागशयन नागरिपुनी श्री कृष्ण नागशयन नागरिपुनी श्री कृष्ण नागशयन नागरिपुनी श्री कृष्ण नागशयन नागरिपुनी श्री कृष्ण नागशयन नागरिपुनी नागशयन नागरिपुनी त्यागराजार्चित नागशयन नागरिपुनी त्यागराजार्चित येलरा श्री कृष्ण नातो चलमु येलरा कृष्ण येलरा
नमः परमऋषिभ्यो नमः परमऋषिभ्यः हरिः ओम् अन्तरायतिविरूपशान्तये शान्तपावनमचिन्त्य वैभवं तन्नरं वपुषि कुञ्जरं मुखे मन्महे किमपि तुन्दिलं महः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। यस्यान्तन्नादिमध्यं न हि करचरणं नामगोत्रं न सूत्रं नो जातिर्नैव वर्णा न भवति पुरुषो नानपुंसं न च स्त्री नाकारं नो विकारं न हि जनिमरणं नास्ति पुण्यं न पापं तत्त्वं नो तत्त्वमेकं सहजसमरसं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। मौनव्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानं वरिशिष्टान्तेव सदृशिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपं स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे वेदान्तार्थविभासकाय यतये शान्ताय सन्न्यासिने नानावादिनगेन्द्रसङ्घपवये योगीन्द्रवन्द्याय च मोहध्वान्तदिवाकराय भगवत्पादाभितां बिभ्रते तस्मै भाष्यकृते नमोऽस्तु सततम् पूर्णाय भूतात्मने अपारसच्चित्सुखवारिराशेः यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि देहं मृण्मयवज्जडात्मकमहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तदभावसुप्तिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधिया दृष्ट्वात्मनिष्ठात्मनाम् सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयम् शोणप्रभं सोमकलावतंसं पाणिस्फुरत्पञ्चशरेक्षुचापं प्राणप्रियं नौमि पिनाकपाणेः कोणत्रयस्थं कुलदैवतं नः योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्नाम् अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम् जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्च अर्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषां धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि कस्मै येन विभासितो यमतुलो ज्ञानप्रदीपः पुराम् तद्रूपेण च नारदाय मुनये कृष्णाय तद्रूपिणां योगीन्द्राय तदात्मनाथ भगवद्राताय कारुण्यतः तच्छुद्धं विमलं विशोकममृतं सत्यं परं धीमहि धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैः ईश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तक्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबद भागवतं रसम् आलयं मुहुरहो रसिकाः भुवि भावुकाः यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेदि तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि यस्वानुभावमखिलश्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपम् अतितितिर्षतां तमोन्धं संसारिणां करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुमुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनां नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरये परमात्मने प्रणतक्लेशनाशाय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। त्यक्त्वा सुदुस्त्यजसुरेप्सितराज्यलक्ष्मीं धर्मिष्ठ आर्यवचसा यदगादरण्यं मायामृगं दैतयेप्सितमन्वधावद्वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दम्। ध्येयं सदा परिभवग्नमभीष्टदोहं तीर्थास्पदं शिवविरिञ्जिनुतं शरण्यं भृत्यार्त्यहं प्रणतपालभवाब्धिपोतं वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दम्। यां यां दिशं भजति किं पुरुषाख्यवर्षे संसेवितो हनुमतां दृढभक्तिभाजां सीताभिरामपरमाद्भुतरूपशालीं रामात्मकः परिलसन् परिपाहि विष्णु। May the kripa of Bhagavan in the presence of Ganga Mata and in this holy ashram of Gurudev Swami Shivananda Ji Maharaj, we are entering the second day of Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavata Puranam. Srimad Bhagavatam, it is very well known amongst devotees. And only one side of Bhagavatam generally is told outside, that it is a bhakti grantha. But the more we delve deeply in Bhagavatam, we see it is Paramahamsa Samhita, Bhakti, Jnana, Viraganam Sthapanaya Prakashitam. It is the ripe fruit of the entire Vedic wisdom. Someone asked Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi that I have heard Vasishta taught Sri Rama, the Yoga Vasishta. Is it to the Avatara Purusha Rama that Vasishta taught, or to an ordinary Kshatriya prince? To whom did Vasishta teach Yoga Vasishta? To that question, Ramana Maharshi said, it is neither to the Avatara Purusha Rama nor to the Prince Rama. It is unakata oi. He said it is only for you. So the entire teaching of the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Gita, everything becomes fruitful when a person attains the highest wisdom. There is a usage, I don't know when, in Hindi also they say that, in Tamil we say, when someone very mature person comes, we say Palutta Palam. It's a mature fruit. Perhaps that usage, very ripe fruit. That usage comes from Bhagavatam. Nigamakalpataror galitam phalam. A ripe sweet fruit fell down from the tree of Vedas, Nigama, Agama, Veda, Shruti, everything same name, synonyms. Nigama kalpataroho, it is kalpataru. Kalpataru means whatever you desire, it gives you. It is very dangerous. If you desire something good, it will give you. But we cannot trust our mind. One devotee prayed to God, God rescue me from myself. Because we don't know what desire will come in our mind and what we will ask. So this Nigama Kalpataru, it contains the Karma Kanda Veda Bhaga, all the rituals prescribed for Kamya Karma, desire oriented actions are there. Daily actions, Nitya Naimittika karmas are also there. But the highest good, the highest benediction comes to a person when he becomes dispassionate to all the fruit earned from karma and approaches a jnani to know that which gives the highest experience, by knowing which everything else is known, by experiencing which everything else is experienced. Yallabdvacha aparam labham, yallabhanna aparo labha, yat sukhanna aparam sukham, yat jnananna aparam jnanam, tad brahmeti avadharayet. Apart from the labha, the getting of that, there is nothing superior to it. Other than Brahma Jnana, no other Jnana is superior. Other than that Brahma Sukham, no other Sukham is superior. Tad Brahmeti avadharayet. So that supreme Jnanam is the ripe fruit which falls from Vedic wisdom, Veda Vriksha, Nigamakalpataror Galitam Phalam. And that too, that jnanam you should get from a Jivan Mukta like Shukacharya. Shukamukhad, that is very important. From whose mukha, from whom you listen to the Upanishad. He should be a Shrotriya, he should be a Brahmanistha. Shankaracharya says, Shrotriyo avrajino akamahato yo brahmavittamaha brahmani uparataha shantaha nirindhana ivanalaha ahaituka dayasindhuhu bandhuhu anamatam satam. So many lakshana, so many attributes are given to that jnani, that he should be a Shrotriya, one who knows perfectly that Advaita Atma Jnana, Upanishad Vidya, and he is established in it, he is compassionate, he has no desire, nothing to get from the Shishya, no desire for money or anything from anyone, he is perfectly desireless, That is why the Upanishad goes on repeating Shrotriyasya cha kamaha tasya. So such a Purna Purusha has to give us the wisdom. That is why Parikshit heard Bhagavatam only once and he became a mukta. Because he heard from Shukacharya. Bheje mukunda padavim shrutipir vimrigyam vaya jnanena vayasaki shabditena. This Bhagavatam says jnanena vayasaki shabditena. Vayasaki means Vyasasya putra. The son of Vyasa, who is the ripe fruit that has come in the tree of Vyasa's family lineage. And Vayasaki Shabditena, Jnanam is same. The Upanishad wisdom is same. If you go to internet and type Advaita Vedanta, all this teaching will come, but no use. It should come from the Shabda of a Jivan Mukta Purusha. Hence, Jnanena Vayasaki Shabditena Bheje Khagendra Dhwaja Pada Moolam. He attained Bhagavan's Charanam. Bhagavan's feet means he attained realization. This Charanam means always Jnanam. Guru's feet, Bhagavan's feet means what? Charanam Pavitram Vitatam Puranam Yena Bhutastarati Dushkritani. The moment you touch that Charanam, all impurities go away. And Vitatam Puranam, it is spread out everywhere, all pervading is that Charanam. So, Nigamakalpadaror Galidam Phalam Shukamukhad Amrtadrava. That fruit contains, it drips Amrtadrava, nectar of immortality, Jnanam, Anubhuti. The Samadhi Anubhava, just like fountain, it comes out from the Jnani and spreads everywhere. Amrtadrava Sanyudam Pibada Bhagavatam. Usually a fruit you have to bite, chew. But here, Vyasa Bhagavan says, you drink this juice. You need not, no teeth is necessary. Because old people reading Bhagavatam, if you give them prasad of sugar cane, it will be difficult. But give them sugar cane juice, they can drink. So here, Pibada Bhagavatam Rasam, Pibada Bhagavatam Rasam, Alayam Pibada, Muhuraho Pibada, Rasikaha Pibada, Bhavukaha Pibada. Those who know rasana, those who know how to enjoy, they should be dry, they should not be dry people. Sometimes if there is no jnanam, Vedanta jnanam, they will become too sentimental. If there is no bhakti, they will become too dry. So bhakti must be there, jnanam must be there. If vairagya is not there, all their energy will go out in the world. So vairagya must be there. All these three makes that triphala. In Ayurveda they call triphala, like that. So nigama kalpadaror galidam phalam shukamukhad amrtadrava sanyutam pibada bhagavatam rasam alayam muhuraho rasikaha bhuvi bhavukaha. You can attain this jnanam in this earth, bhuvi. You need not go to Swargaloka. You need not go to some other world, some other plane of existence to attain this jnanam. It is available here. So this is Bhagavata Jnanam. And Bhagavatam begins. And what is Bhagavatam? Very many definitions are there in Bhagavatam for the word Bhagavatam. One lakshana is Atma Raha Prakasham. These are all selected from various places. Very beautiful. Bhagavatam, what is Bhagavatam? It says Atmarahah Prakasham. That jnanam which reveals the rahasya of the Atman. That jnanam which reveals the real nature of the self, that knowledge which is received from the Guru is Bhagavatam. So that Bhagavata Purana, I am little bit shuffling from Bhagavatam because our time is very less. Where does Bhagavatam begin? It actually began from Bhagavan himself. Sakshat Narayana gave this jnanam to Brahma. In Vedanta Parampara, when we study Vedanta Upanishads, we first bow down to the primordial teacher, and he is Brahma. Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahmavidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyaha Vamsha Rishibhyaha Namo Mahadbhyaha Namo Gurubhyaha, like that we worship. And there is a mantra which says, the one who gave this wisdom to Brahma, Brahmanam yo vidadati purvam, yo Brahmanam vidadati purvam, yo vai vedamsha prahinoti tasmai, tamcha devam atmabuddhi prakasham mumukshur vai sharanamaham prapadye. So that great primordial teacher who transmitted this teaching to Brahma, and that pure teaching is Bhagavatam. Brahma is that Veda Pitamaha, Loka Pitamaha. He was born from the Nabhi of Vishnu. This is all the stories that we know. But he also went to Bhagavan and asked him, please teach me Brahma Vidya. Otherwise, the problem is, if right knowledge is not there, doership will come, enjoyership will come. I am the doer, that ego will arise. Kartrutva buddhi will come. And I will think, ajamaninaha, I will think I am the creator. So, O Bhagavan, because when Brahma appeared before Bhagavan, yesterday I told that story, Bhagavan gave him panigrahana, shake hand. Generally in our culture we never do that, because it is done only with the guru and disciple, husband and wife, because it is done by Bhagavan. In husband and wife also, pati patni also, it is actually Guru Shishya Bandha. Because this Brahmachari who is worshipping Agni, he is taking the companionship of that Kanyaka, and there Panim Grinhishva Panina. In Valmiki Ramayanam, when Janaka is giving Sita to Rama, he says, she is my daughter, now you take hold of her hand. So this is actually done by Pani Hasta Diksha it is. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi tells Arunachala, give me shake hand. Give me Hasta Diksha. Touch me with your hand. Gatir Hastam Vait Arul, he says. Give your Hastam. Put your hand in my head and thus bestow your grace on me. So this is done by Bhagavan to Brahma, and then Brahma says, Natha Nathaya Nathitam. A very beautiful prarthana. He says, you please tell me the knowledge by which always I will remember that you are the Natha. Otherwise I will by ignorance think I am the Natha. So, Natha Nathaya Nathitam. Always we should have Guru or Bhagavan above us. Somebody must be there. In our parampara, there is a shloka of Shankaracharya which says, till your death you should worship your Guru, the Shastra, the Parampara, Ishtadevata, all these worship must be kept. Yavad ayuhu tvaya vandyaha vedanto guruhu ishvaraha. Till your ayu, till your duration, span of life, you should worship your Guru, the Vedanta Shastra, and the Ishtadevata through which you came to Guru and Shastra. So that should be worshipped all your life. When that worshipful attitude is there, even a Jivan Mukta does that. Somebody asked me in Ramanashram, in Shankara Matas, the Shankaracharyas are all worshipping Chandramaulishwara. Every day, thrice, they have to worship Chandramaulishwara, Shivalingam. How can we believe that Shankaracharya, a Jivan Mukta, worshipped a lingam, did an external puja? And suddenly I had an intuition. I told him, he was a Ramana devotee. I told him, why did not Bhagavan do that? Did not Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi do that? He asked, Ramana Maharshi, where did he worship? Why not? He did not travel because he could not take his lingam anywhere. His lingam is the biggest lingam, the huge Shiva lingam of that Arunachala, and he lived all his life in that feat, never moved away from that lingam, and worshipped that lingam with tears, never left that valley, always stayed there. In Shakta Sampradaya, they will say the internal worship, they call it a Samayachara. No outer worship. But inwardly the worship, imperceptible worship. Some Westerners, someone has written that Maharshi had an imperceptible worship, because evening time, morning time, devotees used to assemble around him, sit in his presence, and there will be a worshipful state. And for that they will be waiting. So the worship was always there, all his life, even in his last moment, before dropping the body, devotees sang Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva. Tears rolled down from his eyes. So that bhakti is always there. In fact, the real bhakti begins after jnanam. So here, Brahma worshipped Bhagavan, and Bhagavan told him, I will give you the greatest blessing. Yavat sakha sakyuriveshate kritaha praja visarge vibhajami bhojanam aviklavaste parikarmani sthito mame samunnadhamado ajamaninaha. Give me the teaching, Brahma said. And Bhagavan said, I will give you the teaching. Jnanam vijnana paramaguhyam me yad vijnana samanvitam sarahasyam tadangam cha grihana gaditam maya. Now we are going to say the Chatushloki Bhagavatam. It is the seed from which this huge Bhagavata tree came. The seed, you have to see what that seed is made of. The seed from where Bhagavata Purana came, the teaching which Bhagavan gave to Brahma, Bhagavan says, I will give you 4 things. Bhagavatam is written only to give commentary to all the Upanishads. We usually say, we should have sampradaya. If it is not a good sampradaya, even if the teacher is a scholar, don't go near him, renounce him like he is a fool, says Shankaracharya. Asampradaya with sarvashastra vidabi murkhavadu upekshaniyaha sarvatra. But what is sampradaya? That's a question. And sampradaya is given here, jnanam, vijnanam, rahasyam, angam. These 4 things must be there in sampradaya. Jnanam is perfect Upanishadic knowledge, that's Shruti Jnanam. And Vijnanam is the Guru should have that Anubhuti. He should be a Brahmanishta. And Rahasyam is Upasana. That Upasana Sampradaya also must be there. Otherwise, there will not be any connecting link. You study Upanishad, simply it goes to your head, nothing goes inside. Because bhakti is not there. That connecting energy, meditative power is not there. So, real mananam and nididhyasanam will not happen. Only intellectual knowledge will happen. It will not go to the deeper heart center. So, rahasyam is always upasana. It is called rahasyam because every true parampara has their own upasana devata, upasana sampradaya, everything. So, that is rahasyam. And angam is viveka, vairagya, shamadamadi, shadka sampatti, mumukshutvam. All that qualification are anga. So these four are there. That is a good parampara. It generally in our tradition, all these things are prerequisites. So, but Bhagavan says, Brahma, when I give you this jnanam, I transmit everything to you. I give everything to you. Jnanam is given, Vijnanam is given, Rahasyam is given, Angam is given. Everything is given to you. A real Guru, when he transmits the knowledge, he transmits it with his Anubhuti, then with the Upasana Marga, then with all the qualifications with Ashirvadam. Yavanaham yathabhavo yadrupa gunakarmakaha tathaiva tattva vijnanam astute mada anugrahat. Bhagavan says, by my anugraha, you will be like me. There will not be nanau pashyandi kavayaha chidram jatu managabi. A true Guru tells the Shishya, you become one with me, I am you, you are me. Whatever I have, everything comes to you. How much I have, that will come to you. Whatever bhava I have, that will come to you. And even mannerisms will come to you. And the karma parampara also will come to you. Upasana, everything will come to you. Tathaiva tattva vijnanam astute mad anugrahat. By my anugraha, you be illumined from within. You be whole, purna. That ashirvada, no? That ashirvada from Guru is very important. Anugraha from Guru is very important. Shishya is happy with mere anugraha. He will not even test whether he has attained jnanam or shastra jnanam. When Guru tells him, I give you ashirvadam, that is the pinnacle of his spiritual experience. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi had a very innocent devotee, Ramanatha Brahmachari. One day, some occasion, Bhagavan has never done that with anybody. He gave a knuckle in his head, and he said, Ramanatha, I have given you Atma Sakshatkaram. Said, Ramanatha became delighted, and he went to everybody and said, you know what happened today? Bhagavan gave me a knuckle in my head. He didn't say about Atma Sakshatkaram. He was not concerned about it. He said, Bhagavan gave me a kuttu in my head. So that Ashirvadam is enough. Today, before coming here, I saw somebody has sent me a beautiful photo where Shivanandaji Maharaj is sitting and Chidanandaji Maharaj is sitting on one side. Some other, perhaps Krishnanandaji, I didn't notice. And below them, Venkateshananda Swamiji is lying with Shivanandaji Maharaj's feet on his head, his body. So that is the bhava of Shishya. So that Ashirvada is given, Tattva Vijnanam Astu. The Guru says, Bhagavan tells him, Tattva Vijnanam Astu. And now what is the Tattva Vijnanam? Here Bhagavan says, hey Brahma, you don't exist, I alone exist. This is the jnanam. In all the three kalas, I alone exist. Ahameva samevagre nanyadyat sadasatparam Pasyadaham yate tacha yovashishyeta sosmyaham. In the beginning, I alone was. You were not there. That is understandable. Aha atma va idamagra asit. Only Atman was there. Pure consciousness was there. No I, no you, nothing. And in the end also, only I will remain. That also is understandable. But the middle, where we all are there, where the world is seen, where all the names and forms are seen, where I, you, he operates, there Bhagavan tells, know that I alone exist. Neither the world exists, nor you exist, nothing exists, O Brahma. Ahameva asam, ahameva bhavishyami, ahameva asmi. Nothing else exists. Take this wisdom, meditate and realize it in your samadhi. Etavadeva jignasyam tattva jijnasuna atmanaha अन्वय व्यतिरेकाभ्याम यत् स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा. That which remains always is the Atman. Know that and be established in that, never be shaken from that, and do your creation work. Both Jnanam and Karma Yoga also was given. Be firm in this knowledge and do creation. Because creation does not exist. The world does not exist. You do not exist. There was one yogi in Tiruvannamalai, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, used to roam about in Arunachala as a beggar for many, many years. His Mahavakya is always used to tell, my father alone exists. Nothing else, no one else. This he used to repeat constantly. Father means Arunachala. Bhagavan alone exists, nobody exists, nothing exists, no one exists. Used to repeat it like a mantra. So that is Chatushloki Bhagavatam. Actually this Jnanam pervades the entire Bhagavata Purana. Everywhere in Bhagavatam you can see this Jnanam operating, that only the Atman exists, nothing. Atman alone is real, nothing else. All these Panchabhutas, this creation, everything is only an appearance. The highest Ajatavada. The highest Ajatavada is given in Bhagavata in the very beginning. Nothing is born. There is no pralaya. When this jnana is very well established in a person, that jnanam is called in Bhagavatam as Nitya Pralayam. No creation there. Ihaivatayir jitas sargaha esham samye sthitam manaha. We will, on the way we will see this jnanam again and again. I just wanted to, in the very beginning, this Chatushloki Bhagavatam essence is given. Because this Advaita Jnanam is the seed of Bhagavatam. There is no doubt about it, because Bhagavatam says, Sarva Vedanta Saram Yad Brahmatmaikatva Lakshanam Vastu Advitiyam Tannishtham Kaivalyayika Prayojanam. This is Bhagavatam. So, I did not even explain the meaning, because meaning is very explicit. Sarva Vedanta Saram Brahmatmaikatva Lakshanam, the Jiva Brahmaikya. What is experienced in me as I is the infinite, the whole, the Purna. Vastu Advitiyam, there is no two, there is no duality. Tannishtham, you get established there. The whole Bhagavatam is full of that. Vastu Advitiyam Tannishtham Kaivalyayika Prayojanam. The Prayojana is, at last you attain that Kevala Bhava, that aloneness. Only God exists, Ishavasyam, nothing else exists. In that jnana only Jivan Mukta does all his play. Shivanji Maharaj did so many things. because they know nothing exists. Hence, Vyasa Bhagavan says their later life after Jnanam is only a sport. Lokavattu Leela Kaivalyam. It is only a sport for them because they know nothing exists. So this just they play. It is Krida for them. They don't take anything seriously. In that Jnanam they are established. A Jivan Mukta is established. Hence he can be like Shugabrahma Maharshi, not doing anything, or he can work like Janaka Maharaja as a royal emperor, a monarch. But Kaivalyam will never get lost. Even in the palace, Janaka says, I am in the Kaivalyam. All his courtiers are there. Janaka says, there is no one. I am in the forest of Jnanam. Aho, Advaitam Pashyato Mama, Aranyamiva Samvrittam, he says. It is like sitting alone in a forest. Nothing will affect me. So that is the secret wisdom transmitted to Brahma, and it percolates the entire Purana, Bhagavata Purana. So here, this Bhagavata Purana, we said, contains Bhakti, Jnanam, Vairagyam. And to develop that, we have to constantly listen, contemplate on Bhagavatam, meet those who live that life, expose ourselves to their presence. These are all necessary. In the very beginning of Bhagavatam, actually Bhagavatam begins when Mahabharata ends. That is very significant because our whole life is a Mahabharatam. Only when that conflict comes to an end, bhakti will flower. All this fighting, all this hatred, all this aversion, when everything ends, there Bhagavatam begins. True bhakti starts there. True love starts there. Prema starts there. So first, Bhagavata starts from the end of Mahabharatam. The scene is Kurukshetra Bhumi. Bhagavad Gita is in the middle of battle. The battle is about to begin. There happens Bhagavad Gita. That is also very symbolic because certain people come to spiritual life in young age and they are not ripe enough to take to sannyasa. They have to fight their life, but already the spiritual seed has started germinating. So there they have to keep the knowledge on one side and fight. That is Arjuna's state. But in Bhagavatam, the war has come to an end. And Duryodhana is lying down there in his deathbed, bleeding, and still not feeling that he has done something wrong. That is the fate of certain people. They will never have paschatapa, repentance. They will be always saying, I am right. Even the last moment, Duryodhana told Yudhishthira, I had led a beautiful life. Now I don't repent. I am dying. You have nobody to rule because Bhishma is gone, Drona is gone, everybody is gone. Go and rule. Even in deathbed, there was no repentance for him. In that moment, Bhagavan wanted to give him his last punishment. You know what happened? This Ashwatthama is alive, Drona's son. And another person is Kripacharya, their guru. And Kritavarma, one Yadava, chieftain. All these three went to Duryodhana and they told, we are ourselves an army. Now we will go and fight with Pandavas and kill all of them. Even after that, sometimes in old age also, people carry all their aversion, hatred, jealousy, like that. So Duryodhana said, why you want to do all these things? Leave it. I have already finished my job. But Ashwatthama went, but Pandavas were not there. Krishna took all the 5 Pandavas. He knew what will happen. And one more person, Satyaki, him also he took, and they went away somewhere. That night, this Atatai, this murderer, he entered the camp and killed all the Pandava Putras, the sons of Pandavas, and killed Drishtadyumna, whoever, Shikandi, whoever were living, and burnt the camp with fire and danced like a demon. It happened, and all the children were dead. Draupadi was screaming, weeping, and there Arjuna came. Arjuna was terribly affected. He asked Krishna, what has happened? Who has done that? Then they told it is Ashwatthama. The moment Bhima heard that name, he took his gada and started chasing Ashwatthama. It is in Mahabharata like that. But Krishna said we should not leave Bhima alone, because this Ashwatthama has a terrible weapon in his hand. We don't know when he will use it. He has till now have not used it because he has no knowledge of withdrawal. So we will follow him. Saying this, Krishna took Arjuna and went behind Bhima. In Mahabharata, this Ashwatthama, this Brahmana, after doing this, he has went to take dakshina from somewhere, some yajna is happening. He is sitting in that yajna sabha. The moment he saw Bhima, he understood he has come to kill me. He took a darba from there. Only this much is needed to make a missile. So much amount is being spent now. That Ashwatthama took a darba and started doing japa and spent out, just executed, released that weapon, Brahmashirsha. And it is coming and burning the entire world. Arjuna is feeling the heat, but he could not understand what it is. Just imagine that situation. But there also, Bhagavata gives out a prayer, a very beautiful prayer. There is no situation where you cannot have a prayer. Where Arjuna is facing this Brahmashirsha, he fell at Krishna's feet and asked, "O Vasudeva, O Bhagavan, what is this? I don't know, something is burning everyone, and you are the rescuer. You rescue us from this samsara agni. Krishna Krishna Mahabaho, Bhaktanam Abhayam Kara, Tvameko Dahyamananam Apavargosi Samsritehe." The Samsriti fire, the samsara fire is terrible than this missile. When a person has gone through this terrible samsara, he knows nothing else is more terrible than that. So please tell me, what is this? Tvamadhyah purushas sakshat ishvarav prakritev paraha mayam vyudasya chitshaktya kaivalye sthita atmani. Very beautiful verse. The sandarbha is not good. We don't know why Vyasa has put this verse in this sandarbha. Here he says, Mayam vyudasya chit shaktya. By the power of the chit shakti, from within you remove the maya. When ignorance burns a person, he goes to the Guru, and Guru's presence invokes the inner being. And from within, you remove the veil of Maya, avarana of Maya, and the yogi realizes the Jna Atma, the self. Kaivalye sthita Atmani. chanting this verse, Arjuna fell at Krishna's feet. Krishna said, "Oh Arjuna, that terrible fellow has released Brahmashirsha. Now there is no other way. You also have to release Brahmashirsha." Arjuna said, "Bhagavan, the world will be burnt. That is my concern. Do what I have told you." This Arjuna has learned from the war, from the battlefield. Once you have surrendered to Guru, don't use your logical brain. No more logical brain. Sometimes he will tell you illogical things, say yes. If he says, suppose this is night, say yes. Because he is beyond logic. He is beyond rationality. He is established in the supreme intelligence. So he has learned that on many occasions he had to do things which looked very ridiculous. But Krishna told him to do, he did it. This is what we have to learn many times in spiritual life also. When Swami Sachidanand told me, Anandashram, it is it is like staying near fire when you are with a Mahatma. About Mataji Krishnabai, he told, one day she told me to give 500 rupees to a needy person. I gave him 500 rupees. He came and told some tale, some suffering that he is undergoing, and Mataji told, give him 500 rupees. After few days, the same person came again and repeated the same story. Mataji told, give him 500 rupees. Then Sachidanand Swami thought, she is not remembering that it has already happened a few days before. So he said, Mataji, he came with the same story 5 days back. I didn't ask you that, give him 500 rupees. And in Malayalam, she asked, oh, your logical brain works? Your yukti works? So, the money is not the thing. That obedience, the power to say yes, not giving up that no there, only to Guru, that surrender, that sharanagati, that Arjuna has learnt in the battlefield. Sometimes we will feel that we are right, he is wrong, but ultimately we will see always he was right. Because through him that power works. So Arjuna said yes, and he released the Brahmashirsha and absorbed that Brahmashirsha released by Ashwatthama also, and bound him like an animal with the astra, with rope also, and took him to Draupadi. On the way, Krishna just gave him a test. He said, kill him. Because he is an atatai, a murderer. Kill him. Finish him off. He has killed so many innocent people. Why do you want to keep him alive? Kill him. But Arjuna could not do, because every time he looks at Ashwatthama, he is not seeing Ashwatthama, he is seeing Drona. So he took him to Draupadi. Draupadi was weeping, screaming. First she said, bring his head to me. But when she saw it is Ashwatthama, she stood up and did a namaskara to him. She stood up and said, Tatahritam pashuvat pashabaddham avang mukham karma jugupsitena niriksha krishna apakritam guroho sutam Vamasvabhava kripaya nanama sa. She is a noble lady. She did namaskara and said, Muchyata muchyata meshaha. Brahmano nitaram guruhu. Untie him. Don't keep him bound like this, because he is a Brahmana. And he is your guru. He is not my Guru, Guru's son. Atma vai putra namasi. Guru and his son are not different. And the Guru who taught you all the vidyas, all the knowledge, he has come in the form of this son. So release him. And did a namaskara to Ashwatthama. Seeing that, Dharmaputra felt very happy that even in this shoka, she is keeping her balance. That stability is there. And she has not forgotten the dharma. Dharmam, nyayam, sakarunam. The compassion is there. Nirvyalikam, samam vachaha. And the reason that Draupadi told is, I am crying. His mother should not cry. Yataham mritavatsarta rodmi ashrumukhi muhuhu ma rodid asya janani gautami pati devata. Very noble attitude. Generally, in villages it is seen. Sometimes electricity will go off, current will go. And the first thing that we will do is go out and see the next house. If there also there is no current, happy. This is an example just I am giving. If I am having some unhappy situation, if someone else is also going through it, sharing, happy. But here she says, I am suffering, she should not suffer. Like me, she should not cry. She is a very noble lady, devout lady, so please release him. Then Ashwatthama has already done some harm. By the time, when Arjuna has withdrew that weapon, he has released the weapon apandavam. That Ashwatthama has already done some japa and released that power of Brahmashirsha to kill even the seed of Pandavas. So that fire has entered Abhimanyu's wife, who is with a child, pregnant, Uttara. Her Garbhapatra, this fire has entered. We see some nuclear explosion somewhere. After that incident also, the damage continues. Next generation, it continues like that. So here also, the child is being hurt, and this Amma, Uttara, she comes running to Krishna. All the great, powerful Pandavas are there. Dharmaputra is there. Bhima is there. Arjuna is there. Nakula is there. Sahadeva is there. She didn't look at them. Yatra mrityuhu parasparam. The logic is, when death visits you, you cannot fall at the feet of a person who is also a slave of death, who has not crossed the boundary of death. You should approach only a person who will not be affected by death. So she rushes to Krishna and falls at his feet and says, Pahi pahi mahayogin deva deva jagatpathe nanyam tvadabhayam pashe yatra mrityuhu parasparam. For all, parasparam, there is mutually, everyone is affected by death. I know a story, a devotee, about few years back in Mumbai, he was admitted in a hospital with severe heart problem, and the cardiologist was world famous, very well known all over the world. And the cardiologist said, don't fear, I am here. I will come tomorrow, I will do the surgery, you will be all right. But next day morning he could not come. He had a collapse, cardiac arrest, and he could not even reach the hospital. Before that, the doctor died. That is why in Ashtanga Hridayam, that Vagbhadacharya, in the very beginning he says, First, the worship is for that doctor, that physician who makes you free of this body identity, who gives you freedom from attachment, aversion, raga, dvesha. Apurva Vaidyaya Namostu Tasmai. He says that Apurva Vaidya. To that Apurva Vaidya I offer my worship. Ragadi Rogan Satatanushaktan. The Roga is Raga. This is not coming in some spiritual book. It comes in the medical book. In the Ashtanga Hridaya, he says the chief disease is attachment, aversion. And it is spread out all over the body. Ashesha Kaya Prasritan. It pervades the entire body. You should treat that disease. Make yourself free of that problem. So here, Uttara goes and falls at Krishna's feet. Krishna said, Abhayam. Don't fear. In spiritual life also, when you get this confirmation from a master, then naturally fear goes away. Just Ashirvadam is enough. Akhandananda Saraswati Swamiji was a great Bhagavata exponent. In his Purva Ashrama, he was Shantanu Dvivedi, a Brahmana who has come in Veda Parampara. So he came to Rishikesh and was staying in Rishikesh. Very beautiful incident. And he asked about Mahatmas here, and somebody gave him the name of a Mahatma, a Baba, who is across Ganga in Swargashram. I don't remember exactly the place or name. He went to see that Mahapurusha. He is a thorough Vedanti, a Brahmanishta. So when Swamiji, as a Grihastha, at that time he was a family man, he went there and he said, Maharaj, आपको सेवा करना है. I want to serve you. And how can I serve you? I will read Bhagavatam to you and explain. Every day I will come, read Bhagavatam, and it is not for you, but to spend time with you. I will read Bhagavatam and speak on Bhagavatam. And that Mahatma said, Panditji, your good wish, your noble wish is okay, but now I have no desire to listen to anything. So, आशीर्वाद है, अब आप शांत होकर जाइए. Then Akhandananda Swamiji said, it is not for you, Swamiji, I want to do this yajna for myself, to spend time in your presence. Then that Swamiji agreed. Every day, Shantanu Dvivedi used to go there, read Bhagavatam, explain, and after few days, that Mahapurusha, that Babaji, was in tears. He felt so much is there in Bhagavatam, so much Vedanta, so much Advaita Jnanam is there in Bhagavatam. He had not perhaps gone through Bhagavatam. So he felt so happy. After the finish of that Bhagavata Yajna, not 7 days, many days, Maharaj has done that reading. After that Bhagavatam, that Mahatma said, now it is all over, Panditji, Dakshina to dena hai na. I would give you some Dakshina. Then he said, Swamiji said, Maharaj, this is my Dakshina that I have read Bhagavatam in front of you. I have spent all these days in your presence. That is enough for me. I don't want any other Dakshina. No. Our parampara, when you listen, some Dakshina must be given. But I am a sannyasi. I don't have money. I don't have anything to give you in material. So what Dakshina will I give you? So I give you one thing, that from here onwards you will not have Dehatma Bhava. The Maharaj says in his later days, he says, whether you believe it or not, that day it dropped. That Swamiji said, from here onwards you will not have that body identification. There it fell. See, Jnanam is so simple when it comes through grace. When the Guru tells you, don't fear, fear goes. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says in Aksharamana Malai to Arunachala, once tell me Abhayam. Anjalindre Arul Arunachala. When Vibhishana left everything and came to Rama in Ramayana, Bhagavan told him Abhayam, fearless. That's all. When it comes from Guru, that no more fear. In Bhagavad Gita also you see, the last message is Ma Shuchaha. No more grief for you. That is the message. Ma Shuchaha. No more grief. No more sorrow for you. No more shoka. So here also Uttara went and fell at Krishna's feet. Krishna said, Ma Shuchaha, Shokama Karshihi. I will look after the child. And for the rest of the months, Krishna remained there, not outside, inside her womb, inside her Garbhapatra. And this child was seeing Krishna, this weapon, this power released against the baby, the infant, the fetus. It is only fetus there. It was trying to kill it. But Lord was wandering in that Garbha Akasha, Garbhagata Vishnu, with his mace, with his gada, and twirling that gada is just guarding that child from that weapon. And that child had the vision of Bhagavan inside that Garbha, inside that womb, and he is actually should be called as Garbha Shriman. He is the real Garbha Shriman, because inside the Garbham he had God realization, vision of Vishnu. We cannot say, because see, Prahalada had Sakshatkara inside Garbha. Parikshit had the vision of Krishna, and now he will have the vision of Shukacharya, then only Sakshatkara. But the seed was sown. And then he came out, the child came out, safe, and always searching, where is Krishna, where is Krishna? Whomsoever he met, is this the person whom I met inside the Garbha? See, every mumukshu is a Parikshit. He has somewhere that nostalgia, somewhere he is carrying that divine taste, searching whether I will get it here, I will get it here, I will get it here, in this person, in that person, in this guru, this book, that book, somewhere this parikshanam is there. Hence it is called Parikshit. After this incident, Krishna was about to leave. At that time, Kunti came, his aunt Kunti. Vasudeva's sister, Pritha, mother of all the Pandavas. She came there. Krishna usually pranam, namaskar. He did namaskar to Kunti. Kunti said, no more deception. Don't cheat me anymore. I know that you are Ishvara. Namasye purusham tu adyam Ishwaram prakritehe param alakshim sarvabhutanam antarbhahiravasthitam. Adyam purusham namasye. That Purusha which is being worshipped in the Purusha Sukta, you are that Purusha. Ishwaram Prakritehe Param, one who is not affected by Prakriti. That Purusha is everywhere, alakshyam. We are not able to recognize him. We see only name and form. Some woman is there, some man is there, some animal is there, some tree is there. Akasha is there, Bhumi is there. But the Veda says nothing is there, only Purusha is there. Purusha evedam vishwam karma tapo brahma paramritam. Then why I am not able to realize it? Etadyo veta nihitam guhayam so vidya granthim vikirati somya. The Shruti says, one who knows that Purusha in his heart as the Atman, then he will come to know that everywhere that Purusha is there. Purusha eva idam vishwam. Everything is this Vishwam. This universe is Purusha. Vishnu Sahasranama, the first name of Vishnu is Vishwam. The universe, this world is God. But till you realize it in your heart, you see only the world. You see only matter, no spirit, not consciousness or Bhagavan. But Kunti here says, I know that you are the Lord. You are within and without everywhere. But I am not able to know you because Maya Javanika Channam. That Javanika, that screen, that veil, that avarana of Maya is so thick with Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, Tamo Guna. It is covering my intellect. I am not able to recognize you. Nalakshase Mudhadrisha. Nato Natyadharo Yatham. I have heard a very beautiful anecdote. One fish in the ocean or Ganga. That fish had a doubt. What is water? And that fish, a small fish, it asked its mother, what is water? It looks very funny because it is living inside water. Without water it cannot live. And its mother also told, I have heard that we are inside water. I have heard that inside us is water, outside is water, everywhere is water. But mother, have you seen? No. Someone in our parampara has seen, but they never came back. Because only when you go out, you will see. You will never come back. And the story goes, one day somebody put a net. In that net, this small fish was caught. And the net was pulled out. And then this fish saw the water. And it recognized that it cannot live without water. And somehow it jumped back into the water through the small hole of the net. And it said, now I know it is water, what water is. Harihi jashanam iva toyam ipsitam. The story is, Hari is toyam. Toyam means water. Jasha means fish. Hari is like ocean, like water for a fish. Like that he is for a devotee. Without water the fish cannot live. Like that without Hari, a bhakta cannot live. Tadarpita akhila acharata tad vismarane paramavyakulata. Narada Maharshi says, he lives, he breathes, he has his being in Hari, in Bhagavan. And the moment he forgets paramavyakulata, that inexpressible pain of a longing comes, pang of separation comes. The moment you realize it is inside, outside, everything is Hari. Hari sarveshu bhuteshu bhagavan asta ishvaraha. That Bhagavan, that Hari is Sarveshu Bhuteshu, in all the beings, in all creatures, inside, outside. He is all pervasive. And Kunti Devi says here, only Paramahamsas are able to realize it. How can I know? I am only an ordinary woman. But Krishna, I know one thing. I will worship you as Vasudeva's Putra, Yashoda's Putra, Nandagopa's Putra. But that is enough for me. Even in this form, you are so beautiful. Krishnaya Vasudevaya. Everybody knows that shloka. Bhagavata. Krishnaya Vasudevaya. Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Krishna just laughed. Because just few minutes back, Kunti said, you are the Paramapurusha, you are Brahman. Now she is giving the Aadhaar card. All the identification marks. Vasudeva's son, Devaki's son. Because you easily forget. That is Krishna Avatara. That is Krishna Avatara. You easily forget. Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya cha, Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha, Namah Pankajanabhaya, Namah Pankajamaline, Namah Pankajanetraya, Namaste Pankajangraye. Yatha Rishikesha Khalena Devaki, Kamsena Ruddha, Atichiram Sucharpita, Vimochitaham cha Tatatmaja Vibho, Sahatmaja Vibho, Tvayaivanatena Muhurvipadganat. How many times, O Lord, you have been with us. When I analyze my life, I see that whenever I have suffered, you have appeared before me. Whenever I was happy, enjoying pleasure, I forgot you. Hence, I have come to the conclusion that pleasure is not happiness and pain is not suffering. There is a beautiful shloka which is a prelude to the shloka which is going to come. Vipado naiva vipadaha, sampado naiva sampadaha, vipad vismaranam vishnoho, sampat narayana smritihi. Misfortune is not misfortune. What we call as pain is not pain. And what we call as fortune is not fortune. We have to learn this lesson through living. Simple lecture will not do. When you undergo some terrible suffering, then you will not recognize its value. If someone tells you that it is necessary, then we will not believe. But later on, we will recognize that through that pain, the spiritual door opened. Only when that pain, that suffering, that misery happened, the heart opened. One old lady asked Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, she was a widow, she had suffered enough, she has suffered much. And then she asked Bhagavan, even now, after coming to you, listening to this teaching, why still my mind is not settled? Then Maharshi said, because you have not suffered enough. What an answer it is. Because suffering is Ishvara's anugraha. Because we are not going to do any tapas. So he makes us do tapas. Yad vyahitas tapati. The Upanishad says, when some problem comes to him and he suffers, that should be considered as a purificatory process. Something is purified. That cleansing will not otherwise happen. Our meditation will not reach the deeper recesses. We will meditate peacefully, blissfully, doing some bhajan, dance, the underneath, so many things are lying, hidden, that will not be unearthed. Such things can be opened only when it is like burning lead. In the alchemy, we say, like transforming iron as gold, lead as gold. Like that, when the person has to be really purified. In Tamil, a saint sings, Ooninai Uruki, Ul Oli Perukki. It's a very revealing statement. Manikavachakar says, the Ooninai means this body is being made to melt and inner effulgence increases. Outwardly, this suffering, this misery, when you take it with spiritual knowledge, it will be a great process of spiritual experience. Because that is why many saints, they consciously suffer. They go through suffering deliberately so that can become a tapas. Na dukkam dukkhaya syaditi shruti matragihi. Tapovan Maharaj constantly refers to this shloka. He says, when dukkham comes, when misery comes, it is not for making you suffer. It comes you with a message that somebody, your beloved, divine is waiting for you. Don't waste your time here. It cuts to certain places we are anchored. Those anchorages, those connections will be cut only when you suffer. So Kunti here says, through my living, through my life, I have found suffering has purified me like anything. It has cleansed me, and every time when I become miserable, when I experience pain, I call Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Generally, when we have pain, when we go to some temple, heart opens, tears flow down. But when you are happy, rafting. No Ganga Mata, no Shiva, no Himalayam, nothing. When you suffer, you come to Ganga with so much bhava. Devi Sureshwari Bhagavati Gange Tribhuvana Tarini Tarala Tarange Shankara Mauli Viharini Vimale Mamamati Rastam Tavapada Kamale Bhagirathi Sukhadayini Mataha Tavajala Mahima Nigame Khyataha Naham Jane Tava Mahimanam Pahi Kripamayimam Ajnanam. This bhavam will come only when you are melted and put into the divine mold and purified by the power of the Lord. The power of the Lord visits you as misery, as suffering. But when you are happy, enjoying life, nothing spiritual can go inside. Perhaps you will go, some father or mother, somebody has told you to do namaskar, so you do like this. We call it as axe namaskaram. Axe, kuthara namaskar, like this. Nothing serious, no bhava, no bhakti, just do like this, that's all. Ashirvad karo, ashirvad karo. Over. And the Guru also ashirvad. But the real ashirvada comes when the heart opens. You call, hey Krishna, Krishna Krishna Mahayogin Vishwatman Vishwabhavana. That Kunti called like that. Prapannam Pahi Govinda Kurumadhya Vasidadi. Draupadi called like that. She had nothing, no refuge. Nobody is there to rescue her. In that state, the heart opens. Like that, in everyone's life, a time comes when you find that your money, your health, your power, your intellect, your knowledge, nothing is of worth. When everything fails, then you know, like a child, that is the first sadhana that we did. We did not meditate. No child comes to this world meditation. It comes with weeping. It comes with a cry. If the child fails to cry, others will cry. So when you understand total helplessness spiritually, not even worldly, even spiritually also, you do all sadhanas and you are not able to come in contact with the divine. Dussaha preshta viraha tivra tapa dhuda shubhaha. Gopikas, they were in that state, that tivra preshta viraha, that viraha vedana. That Meera also expresses it in her songs, Viraha Vyatha. To whom will I express my Viraha Vyatha? Who will understand me? People call me mad because I weep for Giridhara Gopala. So that suffering, it purifies. And here Kunti says, "O Lord, I have found you are not cruel." Worldly people will say when they suffer, Lord is cruel to me. But I know that you are the compassionate one, because that is why you remind me through misfortune. Vipadaha santunaha shashvat tatra tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yat syad apunarbhava darshanam. The first line of this verse, there are certain people I know, they will not read this verse. Because the first line, it says, "O Lord, let me have constant misfortune." Who will pray like that? We only pray Apadam Apahartaram Dhataram Sarvasampadam. And you chant Vishnu Sahasranama once, and this shloka they chant 10 times. That is a sampradaya. Apadam Apahartaram, he should remove all my dangers, accidents, all misfortunes, everything he should remove, and he should give me all wealth. Dataram Sarvasampadam. Lokabhiramam Sri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. That we chant every day. But Kunti's prayer nobody will dare to chant, especially the first line. She says, "Let misfortune come to me, let misery come to me." Because whenever pain comes to my life, because a person who is ready to hug misery, who is not afraid of suffering, who is ready to receive suffering, he has attained the greatest integrity. Now nothing can make him afraid in life. You go half the way to receive it. Because the only thing about which we are afraid is tomorrow. What will happen? We don't know. We are praying to all Bhagavan, all forms, because we want to avoid suffering, avoid misery. But in spite of that, something comes to us. But here, a courageous lady, she says, "Lord, let them come. I have faced all my life, one after the other, one after the other. One problem you solve, the other thing is waiting there in the queue. It will tell, let him come out, I will go inside." And it need not come inside, even the fear is enough for you. One devotee told me, "I never had suffering in my life. I had a very good life, very blessed, happy life. I was young." I told, "Perhaps you are in the queue. Don't know when it will come." Next day he said, "You told something, whole night I could not sleep." The suffering has not come, but the fear of suffering was enough for him to lose sleep. Here Kunti says, "I am not afraid of suffering." The greatest suffering is death, old age, separation. These sufferings are there. Iha janmani kasya ratirna bhavet. In Lalita Vistara or somewhere, there is an often quoted verse of Buddha, where he says, Yadi janma jara maranam na bhavet, yadi cha ishtaviyoga bhayam na bhavet, yadi sarvam anityamidam na bhavet, iha janmani kasya ratirna bhavet. If there is neither birth nor death, nor old age, nor disease, iha janmani kasya ratirna bhavet, who will not get attached to his worldly life? But I see that there is death, there is old age, there is separation, there is enough misery. Agantuka misery is they happen of their own accord. Destiny will bring in so many unexpected things in life. But the general natural miseries are there. Here Kunti is speaking about her life. And she says, whenever I suffered, O Lord, tears rolled from my eyes and I called, Hey Krishna, Hey Vasudeva, and you came in front of me. And that is Ananda, that is Purnata. Whenever I sat in my meditation room with my Japamala, then you did not come. Because I was doing something mechanical. The heart was not opening. Just Shivanji Maharaj in his Japa Yoga, he says, some devotees, they do Japa like that, doing Mala and speaking to somebody, hearing something. The heart is not opening. The heart opens when you call from the deepermost plane, and then he cannot keep himself away. Bhavato darshanam yat syat, once I have the experience of you, apunar bhavadarshanam, no more seeing of this samsara, no more falling back to this worldly life. So, to have more and more spiritual experience, I welcome all the pains of life, says Kunti. We need not deliberately invite misery, but when misery comes to our life, pain comes to our life, we should remember this shloka. It has something to give, something to deliver. You have to be very alert, jagrata. The Upanishad says uttishtata jagrata. Wake up to the spiritual knowledge. And Jagrata is for worldly life. The worldly life, be always alert, vigilant. Because every moment, every incident, every event, every emotion, every individual whom you contact either can give you samsara or can give you samadhi. It is for you to choose. If you choose the knowledge that only He exists, Atmaivedam Sarvam, Idam Sarvam Yadayam Atma, every incident is Atma, every emotion is Atma, every individual whom you contact is Atma, misery is Atma, Sukham is also Atma, auspiciousness is Atma, misfortune is also Atma, disease is also Atma, health is also Atma. When you know that everything is Atma Swarupa, Idam Sarvam Yadayam Atma. Idam means all the worldly experience is nothing but Atma, Atma, Atma. When you have this Atma Pashad, Atma Purastad, Atma Dakshinataha, Atmottaradah, Atmaivedam Sarvam. The Shruti says, Evam Pashyan, Evam Manvanaha, Evam Vijanan, Atmaratihi, Atma Kridaha, Atma Mithunaha, Atmanandaha. Then he becomes Swarad, he becomes like a king, emperor. Because he knows that the problem is finished here and now. He is not waiting for death. There is no question of Videha Mukti, etc. Here and now. Because for you, there is no question of dropping of the body. Only Bhagavan exists. Bhagavan alone is real. When you take that, Nothing can frighten you anymore. Life, with all its pleasure, delight and terror, ceases to be a phenomenon. Swami Vivekananda in somewhere has written a beautiful poem where he says, you have to worship the terrible. Only when you dare to worship the terrible, you will transcend the terrible. Otherwise, you think everything is sweet, beautiful, but something terrible comes, you don't know how to face it. Hence, Kunti here says, I don't fear. She has had such a long span of life where she has seen all the facets, all the dimensions. Now she says, Bhagavan, you are my only bandhu. You are the only truth. I don't fear anything now. Saying this, she fell at Krishna's feet and said, take away all my ajnana attachment and give me pure bhakti. Atha vishvesha vishwatman vishwamurte swakeshu me snehapashamimam chindhi dridham pandushu vrishnishu. Sever, cut my attachment to Pandavas and also to your family, the Yadava family, Vrishni family. I am suffering with that attachment. Remove that and give me bhakti, constant experience like Ganga Pravaha. Tvayime ananya vishayamatihi madhupate asakrit ratim udvahata dadha gangevo gamudanvati. Like the Ganga Pravaha, my mind should be constantly contemplating on ananya. There is no anya, there is no anya, there is no other. Only the self, the Atman, it should contemplate constantly. It should not go and get caught by the other. It should not fall in the spell of the other and get deluded by the other. Give me that boon. Saying that, she did a Namasankirtana and did a Namaskara. Shri Krishna Krishna Sakha Vrishti Rishabhavanidruk Rajanya Vamsha Dahana Anapavarga Virya Govinda Godvija Surarti Haravatara Yogeshwara Akhila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. That old lady was fondled Krishna when he was a child, who is Krishna's paternal aunt, who is so elderly. She fell at his feet and said, O Lord Yogeshwara, Akhila Guru, Bhagavan Namaste. Hey Yogeshwara, O Guru of all, O Bhagavan, I bow down to you, I surrender to you. Saying that, she fell at his feet. Mandam Jahasa Vaikuntha. Vyasa says that Vaikuntha, when surrender happens, otherwise he is Krishna, he is Gopika Ramana, he is Nanda Gopal. But when Kunti fell at his feet with real bhakti, there was a manifestation. It is not that Krishna, it is with all the Shankha, Chakra, Gada, he manifested in front of Kunti and said, Mandam Jahasa Vaikuntha. That Vaikuntha smiled. Mandam Jahasa Vaikuntho Mohayan Iva Mayaya. His smile is Maya. His laughter is Maya. He just smiled, and it is very risky because the moment you see his smile, you forget everything. Kunti forgot her suffering for the time being, misery for the time being. The smile of the Lord is Samadhi experience. Kavyakanta Ganapati Muni had a vision of Divine Mother somewhere in Prayaga Kshetra. After that, all verses that he wrote, there he expressed the smile of Divine Mother, Hasa. And that Hasa is his Samadhi that was lodged within him. We will see again in the night satsang, 8 to 9. We will be back with Bhagavatam. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Sarvatra Govindanama Sankirtanam Janaki Kanta Smaranam. Jai Jai. Hara Namah Parvati Pataye, Hara Hara Mahadev.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shri Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Shri Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Shri Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Shri Krishnam Vande Jagadguru.